This is Business and Economy Network.
Wherever you are, brace yourself up. This is Business and Economy Network. My name remains Peter Nwoche. Those of you watching us in Abuja, Port Harcourt, Ilori, Kano, Kaduna, Sokoto, those of you in Plateau State, those of you outside the shores of Nigeria, those of you watching us in South Africa, Ghana, anywhere you are across the globe, I want to say thank you so very much for allowing us into your homes and offices. Well, let us pause a little while. In the recent past, the federal government, under the able leadership of President Ebele Jonathan, launched the industrialization policy. With that, it gave birth to the automotive policy in Nigeria. For us, made in Nigerian products, made in Nigerian cars, and made in Nigerian fabrication. With us on the program today to lend their voice on this very unique topic for discussion is the Director General of National Automotive Council in the person of Engineer Aminu Jalad. And for Spotlight, we have the Managing Director of Afro-Asia Automobile and Plastic Limited in the person of Mr. Alex Ojukwu. And for Company Focus today, we have the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of O Integrated Services, a company doing very well in the steel fabrication far away in Port Harcourt, Nigeria. It's going to be an interesting watch, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Relax yourself and brace yourself up, and you're going to enjoy this program. I'll be back after this time out.
The Automotive Industrial Revolution Plan is aimed to increase the GDP contribution of industry. The main objective of the policy is to bring back automotive assembly operations, thereby reducing the level of unemployment in Nigeria, to conserve the $6 billion spent annually on importing vehicles, spare parts and tires, and finally, to utilize the produce from the automotive industry on other industries like technology, agriculture, textile, and security.
Well, this automotive development plan is part of the, as you mentioned, in the Industrial Revolution Plan. This Industrial Revolution Plan essentially aims to increase the GDP contribution of industry. Currently, it's about 7% to about 10% by 2017, and then to even 15% later. The contribution industry is because industry has so many linkages. Utilize your local raw materials, you manufacture, you sell, and then some of the things you are importing, you now substitute for the local industry. For instance, in the cement industry, as you notice, we used to import cement. Now we are being exporting. We are using our local raw materials, we are creating jobs. So there are other aspects, other plans like the sugar policy. They just finished the textile policy. So this is the automotive policy now, which the main objectives really are: one, to bring back assembly operations, automotive assembly operations, then develop local content. Why would you want to do that? Because we have potential for job creation, as you mentioned. The assembly plant, then the local content manufacturers who will supply the assembly plants. All these are going to employ people. Second one is we can conserve some of the money we are spending. We are spending about 600 billion naira annually on importing vehicles, spare parts, and tires. If you add all this together, it's already the second largest user of foreign exchange. And you can see with this, for following of crude oil price, we need to diversify. Diversification is to produce more, to reduce the reliance on foreign exchange demand by different industries. So this is one of the objectives. Two, the third one is the raw materials the industry requires: iron, steel, plastics, rubber, lead, zinc, and so on. If you have an industry, automotive industry, you develop this industry to supply those inputs. The final reason is that the other linkages, for instance, the technology you require, the raw materials, the knowledge, the equipment for automotive parts and components will be used for other industries. For instance, you have to take agriculture, the tractors, the harvesters are from the automotive industry. If you are talking about defense, the tanks, the troop carriers, artillery, motorized artillery, armored, these armored personnel carriers are from the automotive industry. In fact, you cannot develop a defense industry without an automotive industry, because the two are also interlinked. So that is the main reason we want to develop this industry. You mentioned about the tariff. Yes, the issue here is this. The automotive industry is a bit peculiar. One is very highly capital intensive. If you want to set up an assembly plant doing 20,000 units per annum, you need to spend about, or in general, if you are setting up an assembly plant, you spend about $15 million to $1 billion. It depends on the scope. You can start from 10,000 units per annum to 100,000 units per annum, 150,000 units per annum. It depends on the degree of automation. If you have robotic welding, robotic painting, that will set to about $1 billion to set up just the assembly operation. But if you are doing smaller scale with manual welding and so on, you still need to spend about $15 million to set it up. That's the minimum. So it's highly capital intensive. And unfortunately, the automotive industry, the return on investment is very low. Globally, it's about 3 to 5%. Those who 7% is exceptional. But most of the industries, after spending hundreds of billions of dollars, they end up with the return on investment about 3 to 5%. So government encourage it because of the impact on the economy. It is the main reason. That's why also it gets into trouble. Like in 2008, different governments in the West that normally don't help industry came to the rescue to make sure it doesn't die. So that is one of the reasons. And unfortunately, because of these reasons, all countries that develop the industry, except the pioneers, have to have an automotive policy. France, Germany, UK, and the USA. The rest, all of them, whether it's Japan, China, India, South Africa, Brazil, Mexico, have to have an automotive policy. This policy's main idea is a long-term policy which will be subject to review. For instance, South Africa started their policy in the 1920s. Brazil started their own in 1959. India started their own in the late 50s. So they still have the policy because after periodically you review, see where you are, you have another target, then you now have a different policy. So it's a very long-term policy. One of them is to ensure there is market. Because the former industry, we had to have automotive industry. They closed when the market collapsed. In 1985, when we had these economic problems, the naira was massively devalued. People could no longer buy vehicles. We started to buy used vehicles. So they say have no market. So the automotive industry that doesn't have market cannot survive, it will close. So you want to encourage them with a market. That's why periodically, initially, you raise the tariffs. For instance, in South Africa, the tariffs were 110%. In India, when they started, it was 300%. Right now, the Indian tariff for fully built is 91%, as I'm talking to you now, to ensure that there's market for the product. But what they do is they ensure that the products made locally are affordable. So that is why we have incentives to make the products affordable. One is that the assembly plants will bring their equipment at zero duty, the equipment. Then the CKD and SKD, you bring it at 0, 5, or 10%, depending on the degree of pre-assembly. Then two, initially, when they bring some CKD or SKD, they'll be allowed to import some fully built units at concessionary duty, so that this price will not happen. Then finally, we are also setting up low interest financing scheme. The current financing scheme is about 21 to 26%. So we are working with the South African bank that is an expert in consumer financing of vehicles in South Africa. We are working with them. We'll soon launch the scheme here that will be affordable. By affordable, it will still be double digit, but maybe more around 12, 13%. That is affordable, people can buy. Then lastly, we encourage the assembly plants to also do low-cost vehicles. It doesn't just launch one. You are there, you saw it, so that people can now afford that is competitive with the used vehicles.
The establishing of an automotive assembly plant is capital consuming, taking up about $50 billion to set up a medium-scale assembly plant. Considering the fact that the return of the investment is globally low, within the range of 3 to 5%. It is imperative that the government adopts, encourage and nurture the automotive industry to ensure that standards and quality is maintained.
First of all, I would dispute his pronouncement. I would dispute that. At Bonn, we are doing Hyundai. It's the latest Hyundai you find anywhere in the world. We are doing Nissan. It's the latest Nissan you find anywhere in the world. In Kaduna, they are doing Peugeot. It's the 3508, the 301, the 308. These are the current models anywhere in the world. You have been to Unison, you have seen the vehicles here. That's why I dispute. This policy is to attract manufacturers, OEMs to come in. We are hoping this year Renault, Kia and Honda will start, and Volkswagen. They will come to start. So these are standard. And one thing we should realize is that when Nissan has Nissan as a badge, they make sure the quality is the same as any Nissan everywhere. Because if there's a fault, people will not say Bonn or Nigeria makes a bad Nissan. They will say Nissan is not good. So they are jealous of their name. Once they put their name, Nissan, Hyundai or Peugeot, allow their logo to be on the car assembled in Nigeria, it means they must make sure it meets their standards. So that is what I will assure the people. When they see that name, that logo, they assure them. In fact, that is why before Bonn started, the Nissan came for about 2 months, 3 months, they were training Nigerian staff, in particular on the quality control, to ensure they have good quality. Two, the standards are by the Standard Organization of Nigeria. They are in charge of the standards, but we are working with them to ensure standards. For instance, in a vehicle, we have over 200 in a car, 200,000, about 2,000 parts and components. But usually the standards are for the safety items that when they fail, they affect your life, like the windscreen, the tires, the brakes, and so on. So that one, together with Standard Organization, we have adopted over 100 of this United Nations Economic Commission for Europe Automotive Standards, UNECE Automotive Standards. The standards are about 4 worldwide standards. There are the USA standards, there are the European standards, there are the Japanese standard, and I think the Chinese standard. But they are all comparable. So we are basing our own standard on the European one. So they have about 120 safety standards. We have already adopted about 100 of them. We made them local standards, and we are working on the rest. We'll soon develop the other standards. That is one. Two, we are setting up a automotive test center where these things will be tested. We have finished the civil work is 95% complete. We'll soon award the contract for the equipment so that we could be testing. But meanwhile, the Standard Organization of Nigeria requires all of them to obtain certification from the country of origin, because there is a program whereby standard bodies recognize each other's certificate. So if your certificate is coming from China, the Chinese standard body must give it a certificate of conformity to standards before it's allowed to come here.
With the introduction of the automotive policy, Afro-Asia Industry Limited changed its name to the now Afro-Asia Automobile and Plastic Limited to reflect the initiative and give light to its rubber and plastic manufacturing section.
Afro-Asia Automobile and Plastic Limited started as Afro-Asia Industries Limited so many years ago. Then the company was into assembling of motorcycles in Nigeria. There was then a strategic initiative at the group level that rather than go and continue into assembling, that the company should review its operations and then get involved in actual manufacturing of automotive component parts. That of course led to the changing of the name from Afro-Asia Industries Limited to Afro-Asia Automobile and Plastic Limited. essentially to reflect the new initiative, and then equally not forgetting that we're equally a giant plastic manufacturing company like you have seen around here. So currently we have a full range of products that are on the ground, like we have shown you around. For now, we have product on the ground for 2 and 3 wheelers. We have capacity to upgrade. We are currently on ground making automotive spare parts for 2-wheelers and 3-wheelers that are plastic based and then glass based, because we make rear light covers, trafficator covers, and rubber based spare parts. Okay, and like I've explained to you, and as you have seen at our injection making section, that we already have on ground equipment that, given the necessary incentive from the government, all we're required to do is just to bring in the requisite molds, and we could go into much bigger components like bumpers of different kinds of cars, covers for the rear lights, you know, covers for mirrors, and a whole lot. Dashboard. There's so much we can do.
With a very high level of workforce and a range of distinguished clientele, Afro-Asia Automobile and Plastic Limited extensively take health and safety precautions and maintain high level of quality and standards, adhering to the requirements of regulatory bodies both locally and internationally.
Our clients are basically Nigerians, both individuals, traders, corporate names, scattered for now mostly in the southeast, south, and north central to some extent. Currently in Afro-Asia, we have staff of well over 1,100. Wow. And we work 24 hours around the clock. It is given and it is clear that there is no way you can run such a big place without putting safety in the front burner. We try as much as possible to ensure that our working environment, as much as possible, hazard-free. We provide our staff with PPEs. We provide our staff with medical facilities. Within this complex, we have a full-fledged and equipped hospital just less than 100 meters away from here. Occasionally, when we have operational accident on the floor, they are attended to very promptly. And we have had situations where we have flown some staff out of this country, very low-level staff, to give them the best of treatment.
In 2007, Owo Integrated Service started as a corrosion control company for providing solutions in steel and fabrications for oil and gas industry.
Okay, so far, Owo Integrated Services Limited started since 2007 as a corrosion control company where we do blasting and painting, and I work with some other company before now as a corrosion inspector, and from there we decided to come up with a company that will take that handle corrosion control, that's blasting and painting in the oil and gas sector. So from there we started doing fabrications, where we fabricate rig basket and rigging tools. So far we've been doing very well. We have a lot of clients, people that are patronizing us, and we have the best of fitters and welders for operations. And by the grace of God, we are doing where we have all the basics and most needed equipment for our operations. which we use for operations. Then we as well lease them out to other people that are in need of this equipment.
For Owo Integrated Services, their unique selling point is integrity and transparent work ethics in respect to their diverse clientele ranging from the construction, agriculture, oil and gas industry.
One of the unique value you can think of us is integrity. We are very straightforward what we do, and we have respect for ourselves and our personnel. So when we are doing any job for our clients, we work on delivering excellent. We exceed client expectations. So we suggest to client the best way to do their jobs and work together in line with the scope of the job. So that's one of the things that make us different from every other competitors, because we deliver excellence in every of our operations. Okay, like poultry, we do fabricate cases for poultry, like crates for poultry. We also fabricate, apart from oil and gas, we have poultry, we have even people that are construction, civil constructions. We do phone work for them, metal phone works. At the moment, we have not done a government direct contract before, but the only area we are having government support, maybe if you are talking about like support, but if you are talking about patronage, we are yet to have a direct contract with government, but most of our clients at the moment are all private sector and multinationals.
Majority of the raw materials are imported, but according to Mr. Edeb Okon, he is optimistic that Nigerians are beginning to produce their own steel. He encouraged the government to aid in making the materials more accessible.
You know, one thing about steel is, when you talk about steel, it depends on the grade and it depends on the client's requirement. So when we talk about comparing the two materials, I think Nigerians say they need to do a lot to sell the product to Nigerian people, in terms of what I mean, to Nigerian economy, so it can be used. We are presently, most of our fabrication, most of our operations, we have specification from our clients. This is what we want. We need so great of materials, and that doesn't mean that these great of materials are of high value to Nigerian steel. I want to believe Nigerian materials or Nigerian steels are good, though we are yet to use it. But like I said before, I have other friends that are using Nigerian steel and there have never been any issue. So what we need to do is to do more of we have to make it more accessible, because at the moment, if you are going to the general market, I'm not sure you'll be able to find Nigerian steel in the market. So we need to make it more accessible so people can see it and do more publications, or people can be able, and probably the grade we have and the grade available, so that the industry can be able to see how they can use for the operations.
Well, via this way time we permit us. Don't forget, they say anything that has a beginning definitely must come to an end. I want to thank you so sincerely for all your contribution, and those of you who have sent mails and call us, I want to say thank you so very much. And also forget, Business and Economy Network is also expanding. By next week, we are going to give you more platforms, media stations where we are around the world, so that you can also have opportunity of watching this. And you can also watch our past edition by going to YouTube channels and just Google Business and Economy Network to watch any of our past editions. I want to say thank you so very much for allowing us into your homes. Tomorrow, they say, is another day. Always remember this: as the election draw closer, please, it behoves on you to be careful. Watch your movement, watch what you say, do what is expected of you, and pray for our leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be with you again same time next week. Think of what you can do for Nigeria and not what Nigeria can do for you. God bless you.